For the first time in years, chronic youth unemployment in Perth South is starting to show signs of a turnaround. The latest figures indicate more teenagers are finding work in Rockingham and Kwinana, an area that's traditionally struggled to provide jobs for the unskilled. Now, some of that improvement is attributed to new programs providing young adults with training in a trade. But analysts say that until the area's inherent social problems are successfully tackled, that change may only be temporary. Nikki Wilson-Smith reports.
It's high school, but not as you know it. Here in Kwinana, this engineering program is teaching teenagers the skills they'll need to work in the mining industry.
Hoping to get into just a local apprenticeship to get my certificate, and then once I've got my cert, I can always move on to bigger and better things. So yeah, hopefully later on in life I'll go into the mines.
16-year-old Christian Nielsen wants to be a mechanical fitter, and he's working towards that dream while finishing Year 12.
This course has put me so far ahead, in my opinion, of other people, as the skills that I've learnt from teachers and my work experience at Alcoa and Coburn Cement have just given me so much experience out in the work, on site, in the workshop, everywhere.
And that experience is paying off. Most of the teenagers that have done this program do get jobs.
Obviously, while they're doing their work placements on the strip, the industries are looking at them and saying, oh, I'll have you, you know.
They'll join the ranks of other young workers that are turning the tide of youth unemployment in Rockingham and Kwinana. Over the last 5 years, youth unemployment in Perth South West has almost doubled, but the latest figures show that has slowed. The numbers are not seasonally adjusted, which makes them less accurate. But despite that, the number of teenagers in Kwinana looking for work is down 6% on the same time last year.
I would anticipate, if that's the case, in 10 years' time, when you ask me, you know, what's your unemployment level, I would be hopefully saying, look, it's a lot lower than it is at the moment, and that is because there has been ongoing attention to the town.
That attention has mostly come in the form of training incentives. And while any improvement is welcome, Kwinana residents say training programs don't address the underlying problems that have caused the unemployment in the first place. Kwinana Mayor Carol Adams says many young people are held back by social disadvantage.
When they do take on, they want the cream of the crop. And unfortunately, because of many of the barriers that some of the youth in the town might face, you know, they don't quite fit the mould. So there's this discourse and disconnect between, you know, what the employers want and the skill set that the youth don't have.
There is a greater opportunity for people in Western Australia. On the other hand, not everyone can get a job in this world, in this market that we have here. And so there's still gaps that we need to plug and still bridges that need to be built. I wouldn't put too much emphasis on the fact that the latest figure is a lot lower. I would be looking much more at the trend. The trend is down, but it's still high. And in my view, this is still a continuing issue about teenage unemployment.
Dr Paul FLATAU is a business analyst who keeps a close eye on WA's labour market. He says it's more than just social issues. There is a lack of suitable jobs for unskilled workers.
Those types of jobs which were available for those without qualifications have vanished. We don't see them as much as we used to.
And it's not just young people who are affected by the job shortage.
Hey, hi, how you doing?
On a Wednesday morning in Kwinana, 37-year-old Fiona Riley is looking for work. She's been unemployed since December, and the constant knockbacks are starting to take their toll on her self-esteem.
You feel quite confident that you have the skills to be able to be in a working environment and to be able to get your skills out there and to be able to contribute. And when you get knocked back, yeah, it's just, it does eat away at you.
The mother of two is work ready, but struggling to get a break.
We're lucky over here in WA with the wealth of resources and things like that, but if you don't have them skills, you don't even get a foot in the door. Yesterday, I rang up a mushroom farm and an egg collecting place in Baldivis. These aren't jobs that I want, but I want a job. So I'm resorting to lots of different avenues just to try and get something to then be able to fulfil some wants in my children's lives. So, yeah.
In the meantime, Linda Riley is living on a shoestring and updating her resume at the local employment office, aptly called Bridging the Gap.
Kids don't understand. They just think that you can go out and you can get a job. And as much as I portray a positive attitude at home that, yeah, I'll be able to get a job and whatever, it certainly is a lot harder than what it seems.
Okay. Now, I've sent your email with your resume attached, so go back into your inbox.
Linda Riley isn't the only one. Analysts say most unemployed people in Perth Southwest are genuinely trying to get work.
I think people are still trying, which is what you really want to see. The simple fact is that sometimes people look at this mining boom and say, I can just drop out of school and someone is going to get me a job up there and I'm going to work in a mine or be a cook for $100,000 plus straight away. Well, that doesn't always happen. There are simply not enough jobs there to take everyone.
Local businesses agree they just can't afford to employ new staff, and in some cases they're laying off their current workers.
Consumer confidence, business confidence. We've got their all-time lows. Our businesses don't want to invest in the future because they don't know if they're going to be there. I know they're not putting on apprentices. 3 to 4 years is the average apprentice. They're lucky to have work for 3 to 6 months. We're laying 3 to 4 years. So how can you put an apprentice on? It's not fair for them and not fair for the employer.
Back at Gilmore College, Christian Nielsen knows it's a tough market out there. His friends have joined the ranks of Kwinana's unemployed, but it's not for lack of trying.
I've got mates that have dropped out and just completely can't find a job at all, and they sit at home. So if I had dropped out and looked for an apprenticeship and I hadn't got one, I would just be sitting at home as well.
He's hoping that being a part of Kwinana's most successful engineering program will get him an apprenticeship and a leg up to his dream of a well-paid job in the mines.